Hello, everyone. I'm Melissa Steinour. As we follow the Christmas story in Luke chapter 2, we find that Mary and Joseph had to travel to the town of Bethlehem to be registered for the census. Now, we know that Mary was pretty far along in her pregnancy by this time, and travel would have been quite difficult. When they arrived at Bethlehem, the Bible tells us the time came for the baby to be born, but there was no rooms available, and Jesus was born and placed in a manger. I am fairly certain that those innkeepers had no idea who it was that they didn't have room for. They were simply doing their job in a very busy town at the time. This past year, we had quite a shutdown with the coronavirus as we had to go in lockdown, and we found a lot of time on our hands, and I believe that time was meant to prioritize our lives, spending time with our family, but especially spending time with Jesus and drawing closer to Him. You know, the end of the year is always a time where I like to sit and look back and reflect. Did I draw closer to Jesus this year than what I was the year before? So I have a question for you. Did you make room for Jesus this year? As you look at your life and you reflect back on it, did you draw closer to Him this year than what you were in 2019? You know, when we make room for Jesus, we also make room for other people. It's a natural thing that takes place. And Jesus is sharing a parable with us in Matthew chapter 5. And in that parable, He tells us that when we do things to the least of these, our brothers, we are actually doing them onto Jesus. I'm just going to read it for you. It's Matthew 25, beginning at verse 35. Jesus says, "For I was hungry, and you fed me. And I was thirsty, and you gave me a drink. And I was a stranger, and you invited me into your home. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you cared for me. I was in prison, and you visited me." And in the parable, they say, "Well, when did we do these things?" And He says, "I tell you the truth. When you did it to one of the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you were doing it unto me." You see, when we draw closer to Jesus and we make room for Him in our lives, we draw closer in our relationship with Him, but we also draw closer to wanting to help other people and wanting to love and nurture other people, especially ones that society looks at as the least of these, or the ones that are forgotten or just passed over. As we begin to have the heart of Jesus, we have the heart for these people. And the Bible tells us that when we help them, we're actually doing it unto Jesus. I want to encourage you this Christmas season and even into 2021 to look around you. Look around you for the people who really need Jesus in their lives, and they really need love. The ones that society says is an outcast. The ones that society says doesn't matter. The ones that are forgotten. And know that when you do something for them, you are doing it unto Jesus. And I just want to encourage you to make room for Him and make room for people this year. So share this message with those around you, and I will bring you another message next week.